Hey, I actually counted it down right.
Yay!
We am live.
We am
There's
live. Hello.
and there's nobody watching. It's fine.
Sad.
Fine, guys. Fine. Be like that. Just be like that, guys. All right. So, what's going on, guys? It's the normal Sunday live stream, except for the fact it's not Sunday.
Nope.
I just went live.
Somebody didn't turn off their notifications.
I thought I did before we started talking. So there we go. That's that. All right. So, guys, sorry that we did not do the normal Sunday live stream last night. I was involved in another live stream that actually ended up going late, but was a ton of fun. I shared the link on the Facebook and in the community tab. Go watch that live interview with the Gasselcast. So much fun.
That was
Like
a
I know,
that was a neat cast. I missed part of it, but I got to watch most of the beginning and all of the end of it. It's like got missed like a section in the middle when I had to like take Boyd to bed and stuff.
I hope you caught the hoarding talk because that was worth it. The
Oh yeah,
intervention for
well
Chris.
remember I had posted the thing I posted in the comments like Choki hates boxes. I speak
Yeah,
from experience.
yeah. I don't hate boxes. It's just there's no need for them if you're. It's like if they're taking up more space than the thing itself, and the thing is just hiding in your closet. Yeah, there's no point for the box. See, my problem is I'm storing my boxes, but there's almost nothing in them. But anyways, it was really fun. Go watch that. Go watch that live stream and subscribe to the Gasselcast. There's some really cool people. I cannot wait to have them on here to do a Nerdcast 1-on-2. It's like it's not a 1-on-1. What's up, Jerry? I see you in the chat. Um,
Yo.
but yes, that was a ton of fun. And by the way, guys, if you did not see my post over on the Facebooks, today I met up with a local guy who donated a couple prizes to the MS100 contest. So
Woot.
shout out to Hugo for doing that. He's really excellent dude. He was almost willing to buy 3 prizes. I'm like, well, we don't really need another one just yet, but I'd really definitely appreciate that. So I know Sean ordered one of the prizes this past weekend when we were talking. Nate ordered another one. I've got one on the way. So I think, with the exception of possibly getting something bigger for the grand prize, we're kind of set for contest prizes finally.
Awesome.
So if you go check out the rules, it'll actually have the list of the contest on there. So usually the stuff is in the description down below. Which, by the way, go subscribe to this guy if you have not,
Yes, please.
because at the moment he's probably doing a little bit more stuff than I am. Uh, Maybe, I don't know. I've been trying to get reviews done today. Um, oh, well, totally not Marlon is asking a question. Not to nag, but he's still planning on doing that 15 minutes. Yes, I will be doing your 15 minutes live stream. I just don't know when. It'll be on the weekend, more than likely, because it's the easiest time to do it. So look forward to doing that probably on a Saturday night, guys. I will
Cool.
post ahead of time, and I will make sure everybody knows how it'll go. But they're usually fun, except for the last one where like nobody wanted to come in and play it usually, and it basically just ended up like me and Joey hanging out the whole time, I think, which is still fun. But yes, that will go on sometime soon, Marlon. And then if I don't know, I might replace the the quote unquote monthly Discord chat with that for this month, just because we'll see what happens. I don't know. Everybody trying to maximize their content right now because, frankly, there's not a lot else to do, and we need to keep all the people who are trapped at home entertained,
Yep.
and that's not easy. And we're lucky for now. They're not doing a lockdown. They might be doing a shelter in place situation, which is actually no different than what we're currently doing. So there's that. And of course, prayers going out to anyone and everyone dealing with this.
Yeah.
There's more cases locally, and just everywhere. So it's going to be a long ride, and we got to get through it, guys. Yes, Eric, I see you there in the chat as well. So, what went up on your channel this past week?
Let's see, because today, because it's Monday, right?
Yes.
Losing track of the days. Um, I uploaded the part 3 of the controlling the shelf space video, which is the first one where you're not involved.
Yes, I was not involved. He just got far more motivated by his free time.
Pretty much.
So it seems like actually just having the time to do it was the biggest thing holding you back. Not
pretty
just
much,
me.
yeah.
Not
because I don't have a whole lot. I don't have, no, or at least normally I don't have a whole lot of free time. It's either I'm working, I'm doing like some stuff for the channel, or I'm focusing on my family. And so, like, I don't even play video games all that often anymore. So I'm suddenly finding myself with several hours worth of time. I completed like everything that I wanted to do earlier in the day, and I'm like, you know what? I need to take care of those shelves over there.
Yep.
Let's just do it. The only thing that I didn't do was go into the closet and bust out some of the Beast Wars stuff that I know is still in storage there, so I can add it to the display behind me.
Yeah, you got to dig down, find the right tub again, and get rid of that night screen that's broken.
Pretty much, yeah. And let's see, what went up on... What went up last week? It's been a while. Oh,
hey, let me go look.
One of those things. What's that?
Let me go look. Literally look on the phone.
SD Wing Gundam Endless Waltz version was one.
Oh, that's right. That was Friday.
And nobody seemed to really like that one. Which is a shame because that's such a cool kit, and I really wanted to show it off. Plus, my brother got it for me, so I was like, I should really put it on the channel since he, gave it to me as a present.
Yeah, I thought it's pretty cool. I mean, I no offense, I haven't watched that review just yet. Been trying to be busy. This weekend was surprisingly busy with other things.
Was Monday the my review of the Gym 2 Sniper or Gym Sniper 2 or whatever?
I think that was before.
Okay.
I don't know because our live streams are off.
Yeah.
Since we had to bump that one to Friday and then we did another one on Sunday. So the week before was already a bit wonky because of that. But I don't know. Let me actually click on your channel instead of scrolling through my entire feed. Let's see here. In order, you had Controlling the Shelf Space, SD Wing Gundam, and Controlling the Shelf Space.
Okay.
Yeah, so back-to-back Controlling the Shelf Space videos, basically.
That's what's
separated by a wing. Let's see. I had a couple reviews go up. Apparently, nobody seemed to care about that grapple. Like nobody watched that video. I did a video on the.
At least I think I did.
I don't know. Not a lot of people did. I think between like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Not even Wednesday. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Because Saturday I did the live stream. Or no, that was Friday too. Damn it. Yeah, it was Friday during the day. That's right. Because I knew I wasn't going to be able to do it on Saturday. But I did the Raycon earbuds review, which I got some interesting comments on that one. But I like those things. Go watch the review if you need to know more about them. I think they're pretty cool. I think you need a pair just for doing these live streams.
I don't like earbuds though.
I don't care. Well, actually, they have Bluetooth headsets too that are reasonably affordable.
Maybe.
Just do it. Which live stream is not showing in your feed, Marlon? Which one are you talking about? The mini master grade box was awesome. What? Oh, on the SVCS, the box.
Oh yeah. It's a shame that I threw that away. Or did I throw that away? Oh no, I still have that one because I haven't thrown it away yet.
So Jerry says, I feel like this lull in being social is going to make or break some YouTubers. Maybe. I think the main problem comes down to whether or not the internet can actually survive the extra flow that's going on right now. Like, because there's so many people bored and there's so many people at home watching, Netflix has already had to turn down the HD to kill some of the flow.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Hulu and Disney are probably doing the same thing. I don't think YouTube is, except maybe the like super high like 4K
They're
guys.
doing something
Probably.
as well. And also, I noticed today, like I was trying to, I was looking through some news articles that had YouTube videos connected for like movie trailers and stuff, and I would
Yeah.
click on it, and it would take a while and then bring up an error screen. So what I had to do is click on it, then quickly click on the YouTube icon to go to the actual YouTube page, and then it would play there. But embedded, it didn't want to play properly, which
Yeah.
could be my browser or something. But
It could be a browser. I've seen some embedding issues. My computer's been acting funny, so I think it needs either an update or a defrag or something. It keeps getting hung up on stuff. I just realized I still have my editing software open. Let's close that for the time being. So, guys, I did. Oh yeah, Master Grade Monday was today. I forgot. So yes, the Master Grade Justa video went up today. Had pretty good views. Hopefully, people will still see that even after this one.
that's such a cool kit.
It's a pretty cool kit. I was having a hard time getting decent pictures of it. I do have, if you guys don't catch it in the card, I do have a random panning set to music video for that. I'll make it live tomorrow, but if you missed it, it is in the drop down card for that, along with the Gasolcast live stream. So if you just go to the Jeff the video and you want to see the random panning set to music, there's a little bit of a story going on if you actually watch it. And actually,
We'll have to check this out.
yeah, because the other day I realized that my random panning set to music for my Kamen Rider Kabuto had never been set live ever. I guess because I abandoned that for some reason, so I just never made it live.
Okay, because I remember seeing that come up in my feed, and I thought it was just recommending an old video that I had already watched or something like that. So I was like,
Yeah,
why is one of these old videos on here? Swipe
yeah.
it away
To me, I didn't think about the fact that it was technically publishing it because I thought that at some point I had made it live and then took it back. So it technically went live, yeah. But I actually really enjoyed that video, and since I never did an actual review of it, just that video, that's about as close as you guys kind of will get. But I did the review of the Gundam Tertium today. That's what I was editing before we had to go. So that'll be coming out on Friday, also with a random panning set to music. Right now, there's an out-the-box reaction video on the Patreon for a thing I also just reviewed. I'm not going to even say what it is. If you're a Patreoneer, you'll find out. And then I'm just trying to get caught up. I don't even know what kit I'm going to build next. So I don't have anything on the docket currently. But let's go ahead and roll into this review because it is a work night for me anyways.
That's right.
It's the reverse of normal. Our numbers went down. We only got 2 people watching.
You come back.
Where did everybody go?
We'll talk about Gundam, promise.
Yeah, we are talking about Gundam. So speaking of which, we're going to do the Gundam De Origin, episode 11, the Battle of
Loom.
Yes, or as also known, the Looming Battle. Anyways, so it opens up on the battle where we kicked off last time, where Zeon forces were turning and retreating, kind of, and they're basically just getting pounded by the Federation ships, just nailing them. You see them getting hit, some of them not necessarily exploding, but definitely going up in flames.
It all feels very like a World War II movie. I know I said that last time, but even this still feels like that. You can really feel that sort of influence on Gundam on this.
Yeah, no, 100%. Especially later in the episode, it definitely feels like that. But we go into the bridge of Dozel's ship as he's watching, and he's really getting upset hearing his men either die or whatever, and he's like squeezing the rails of the ship so hard he's actually crunching the metal.
Oh yeah, such a cool effect.
Yeah, so once again proving that he is just ridiculous, or their metal sucks. I don't know which one. But he's actually, he cries like your sacrifice won't be forgotten.
Yeah.
Make sure that the rear guard, everybody knows what the rear guard did to cover us. and get the fleet turned around. The main target is Revel's fleet, and so basically, their plan is going according to plan.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. So intro, like real quick, just intro.
Still awesome.
Yeah. So to me, I would have been okay if they did the other anime thing where they put the intro first, so they didn't have so they would have an unbroken episode. Like for those really important episodes of anime shows.
Or the ones where you don't have an intro. They start up and you see like you just see the credits over the standard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have been fine with that, even if they put them like at the end, like Re-Rise did for that one episode. There's like no intro whatsoever, and then it's at the end. It's like that's weird. Throw the intro at the end. But go over to the Fetty side. They're watching them. They get a report. It's like, hey, they're leaving. It's like, they're probably retreating. Probably going to regroup. Should we go after them? Yeah, let's go after them.
Yeah, I got the feeling that they're kind of confused by what's going on, but even though they're confused, they're not really all that concerned by it. It's like, that's really weird. Let's still go after them and take them out.
Yeah, because the main problem is that they're still so full of themselves. They still expect Sion to be weak. So they're like, well, yeah, first volley, they didn't really take anything out of ours, and we're breaking down their ships right and left. So they just turn tail and run.
It's exactly like back when they were comparing the mobile suits that Xion was developing to the prototype gun cannon, going, it's like, yeah, this thing doesn't even have big guns, and all it's got is those little rocket boosters making it fly around. That's nothing. Who needs speed in a mobile suit?
Exactly. And then the news gets relayed to Revel as he's headed towards the bridge, and he's so enamored by it that he has to fix his hat. Like, tuck the hat down.
Dramatic hat shifting.
Oh, by the way, guys,
the car maneuver.
Yeah. So by the way, so when I said before, when I was talking with Joey, I think it was when I said that I know I've seen Revel before somewhere. Right. I figured out where it was. So I have seen Origin episode 6 of the OVA. So all of this stuff I have actually seen.
I'm betting you caught it on. It was on YouTube for a little while.
When they had the OVAs, when they had the OVAs on YouTube, I watched it then. I just had forgotten. Well, that's how I knew that I'd seen the one battle on the moon as a clip, and then I did watch Origin episode 6. And it wasn't until I realized it from one. Now I'm seeing stuff that I know I've seen, especially like everything of this episode is like I know I've seen this. Mm-hmm. But it was the intro that really gave it away. I was like, why does it have a big Roman numeral 6? And I went, duh. All of this stuff is from episode 6. And I was like, I did see episode 6. I was like, damn it. Especially the next episode, I know I saw, because that's some of the stuff I recall for knowing General Revel. Because I was bored the other day. I was watching ahead. But basically, he gets Revel gets the news that our TNM fleet is winning, or at least won the first round. And then we jump over to the Great Degwin.
Great Degwin.
Where Such Big Daddy seems concerned. Big Daddy's concerned about what's going on.
And Garma is confused.
Garma's confused. Why are they leaving? All this kind of stuff like that. Garma's just confused in general. He's either overly excited or very confused about what's happening. And I assume that this is actually like over the course of like a couple hours, because like if this was literally a few minutes apart, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Because we go back to the Fetties and they've lost the Xion fleet. They're like, well, they're gone off sensors. We're in a giant fog of Minovsky particles. We can't see them.
It's like they're hiding in a fog. They had that.
Yeah. But they're literally.
You probably should think, maybe we should rethink our strategy here. If they just suddenly disappeared.
Yeah, exactly. So they disappeared. which I find crazy. So their ships are clearly faster than the Fetty ships because they were able to back up, turn around, and run faster than the Feds could catch up to them. And then
I guess they're like there's a class of ship called, I think it's frigate, where basically the concept behind is that anything you can't outrun, you can outgun, and anything you can't outgun, you can outrun.
Yeah, and that's what these.
And that seems very much kind of like their mentality with their ships. Their firepower isn't the greatest in the world, but they got speed, and if you can get right up in front of the enemy, you can certainly do a whole lot of damage, and then GTFO basically.
And it's funny because they're just like, okay, they're out there somewhere. We know they went somewhere. Where the heck did they go? And the fact that they're chasing after them makes it crazy. That's weird. I think the chat is delayed because I saw it actually come up here, but not there. Jerry made a comment. Says, is Garma a Pomeranian? He's constantly being pet by an older man who doesn't seem like he would have a pet. He's constantly confused, and everyone is always telling him how good a boy he is. Oh, wow, there's that big of a delay, at least on this end. Oh, wow, okay. So if I have this version of the banners on, this is what comments look like. This is funny.
It's covering your face, too. We can do the puppet show.
Meanwhile, back on the big Degwin. Wow, I insulted it. It's not the great Degwin. It's the big Degwin. It's the slightly bigger red one.
So after
from now on, I'm calling it the big Degwin. It's like just like he's Big Daddy. It's the big Degwin. That's not so great, but it's big. All right. So we jump to a scout ship that's flying ahead. We saw them launch a bunch more scouts early on.
Yeah. It's being piloted by a character from First Gundam. I didn't piece it together till like they said his name a couple of times. I was like, wait a minute, I know that name. Where do I know it from? Oh, he was one of the main pilots in First Gundam.
Oh, so he actually survives this. I mean, what you're saying is First Gundam. So I don't know how much of First Gundam was shown, before this battle.
We haven't hit any of First Gundam yet.
That's what I'm saying. So I mean, what is it? A spoiler? If the guy's in First Gundam, he had to get through this.
Yeah.
So I mean, but anyways, we see the pilot. He's kind of a thicker dude. You got a little dude with glasses in the back. Like basically saying the same thing. Sensors are blind. There's so many Minovsky particles. We'll just have to do a visual inspection and see. Let me know what you see. It's like even with my glasses, I can't see a thing. I was like, what fucking good are you? You're literally the dude watching the sensors, and you can't see shit either.
I have to admit, while this concept is very, it seems anachronistic to us, but it makes sense because of the particles and stuff like that. It's a cool concept and a way of sort of fleshing out the world and the tactics and stuff like that. That the fact that they have to have observation craft out there and people on, you'll see later on, you have people actually looking through binoculars and stuff like that.
Which totally makes sense. So as the big guy's looking around, he's like, huh, that's weird. What is that? It's like, is that debris? Because obviously they're moving and they can see the stars not moving. So they can notice when things are blocked or even maybe moving in a distance, and they can see the blue plumes of the Federation fleet. So they're like, okay, so there's the Federation fleet. All right, so where are we? It's like we're near the they didn't call it combat zone, they called it something else, but they're flying ahead, and I forget what he says. I think he notices something actually on the sensors, and he's like, it's directly ahead and it's oncoming. He's like, what? And then literally like out of the dark, holy shit! There's the
that was such a cool thing because then he's like going in and they're having to dodge.
Yeah, they're literally flying around.
Moose eyes, I think, is what they're called.
Yeah, those are all the moose eyes. And then
to keep himself from colliding with the darn things.
Yeah, so they're just like they couldn't see them even that close, and they weren't on sensors until they were close enough for it to bounce off. Um, and it's just like, okay, so they are there, and then you even go into Dozel's ship, and he gets a report. Oh, there's a scout craft spotted, and they don't even bother shooting it down. They're like, it doesn't matter at this point because their whole concept. So they had the other fleet coming to meet them from, along with the mobile suits.
Hmm.
They retreated, basically turned off everything. They went full dark, managed
Yeah.
to regroup, and then what we'll see pretty soon, because you can actually see there's quite a lot of ships here, but pretty soon we see what they really were doing there.
And
But the fact that,
cool attacks.
yeah, so the scout ship is trying to radio the fleet, but they can't clearly because comms suck. So they got to get
Yeah.
back close enough to where it'll
Nazi
work.
particles.
Noski particles stop everything basically. But then we get to go. We see the Zaku group with the black tri-stars, and basically it's like everybody, turn off safety or engage your safeties and lock and load basically. And then they're approaching the battle. Quite
Yeah,
a lot of
you can
synergy.
see like what was cool is, at least to me, was that in the you see the Zaku's in the hangar, and you can see like cranes and mechanical arms basically maneuvering like the weapons into position and locking the ammo cartridges in and stuff like that. No, like there's a section where like you see like Char's bazooka, I think, gets moved up in front of him or something like
The,
that, or
on-
some
the
of
only
the.
thing what you see is the actual ammo loading in, like the just
Oh,
drop.
maybe I'm thinking of a different
I
scene.
think you're thinking of a completely different scene that wasn't in this episode.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh well.
or you're thinking about when the missiles got loaded in the ships, like actual large missiles launched from the feds. Um, but no, in this one, when they're showing the Zakus, they're all in space flying towards them. They're basically just loading up to fire their first shots.
Okay.
But then also, what's his face? Mash activates his giant axe, literally just shunk,
Oh, that's right.
out. Um,
That's it's so over the top and kind of super robot like, but I can't help but love it.
yeah,
Particularly since it makes sense with characters like this who are very much over the top and almost like a remnant of the super robot days.
pretty much. Um, so we go back over towards the flagship, and everybody's just sitting there like, okay, what the hell? Where did they go? And you even have the guy looking through the binoculars and stuff like that. And they're like, there's nothing on sensors. We've got nothing. Should be here. Wait, what's that? Is that debris? No. Holy shit, those are ships. And then
Yeah.
right then you see all of the ships fire up their engines and turn all their lights back on. So they were literally like just sitting there in the dark. And then you just see rows of Musais. Like,
Yeah, because what they had done was like they had kind of put themselves into like single file or something like that, but basically, which I'm guessing made it harder for them to be spotted visually.
yeah, you wouldn't see them, and even if the sensors picked it up, they would only catch the first one. And remember what I told you last week will be a great tactic for those really skinny ships. Get in a line and then just pull
Yeah.
up and shoot over. So what did they do? They basically just got in one really long, or two or three really long lines, and then just lined up everybody ready to go. And then right then the Fetties are like, holy shit, they're literally on top of them at this point.
Yeah.
They're right there, or right next to them, to the point that the lead ship, they showed the flagship and then they made sure you knew it was the lead ship that actually was running into them. And basically they just right point blank just start nailing them. So just two rows of ships going right down through the fleet, just shooting at point blank range every ship they can hit, and they can't even do anything. They're trying to turn, they're trying to avoid, and then the ones who can see it later, they do what they can to shoot. But at this point, what do? You literally have the bulk of your enemy fleet plowing straight through yours when
Yeah.
the distance was what they had before because they had stronger weapons at a longer range. So they were hoping they could catch him further out. They closed the distance without them even being able to see it. and then got right in their face and hit them hard to the point that they couldn't even fire back. And
some really cool looking tactics. Yeah.
yeah. Actually, I may have skipped part of that, but I'm not sure. Hold on, let me see here. No, I didn't. Okay. I think I jumped ahead with the next one. But basically, I forgot Char actually flew right up into the battle right before that. That's why I skipped. So Char actually ends up, is warping into battle before. So that's
Pretty
when he
much,
flies
yeah.
up, locks up the thing, and is trying to find a target. He's still going stupid fast, but he's waiting his turn more or less. But if I remember correctly, he hit a ship without them even seeing him. Like he
Yeah,
fired.
because he's so small,
Yeah,
so fast. Not to mention just the concept of going up against a mobile suit is so foreign to any of these
it's
guys.
not even a concept they
They
thought.
because and not to mention even with like conventional like radar, if that was working, because a mobile suit is so relatively small, it probably wouldn't even shown up very well at all. It
Yeah.
may because that's one of the big things with like stealth is that you basically make your radar cross section look as small as possible to the point where it gets overlooked. And
Yeah.
so they're kind of doing that with a visual thing here. So he just zips in, and by the time they realize, oh shit, there's a person there. Especially since I think there's a line. I don't know if I have it written down, but there's like they see him and they're like, "Is that a person?"
That was
and then they realize
that was the first green one they see. See, I skipped ahead because Char actually attacked first, and then they ran into the fleet.
Okay.
He actually fired the first shot of this battle, which was cool. But it was the fact that they got hit over there. They're like, "The fuck!" It just looked like a ship exploded. They didn't even know why. There was
and Char goes, "Bow down before me, God."
God, yeah. Cameo. But basically, at that point, the feds are just confused. This guy just exploded, and then they're running into a fleet that's just killing them up close. I love the fact that it even shows Dozel's ship going right past Revel, like, and they kind of make eye contact, which likely didn't happen, but also kind of gives you a sense of the scale. Like these ships look massive, but when you actually compare a person to the whole ship, they're not that big. They're probably smaller. Some of them are probably smaller than our actual battleships and stuff we have.
Probably.
And it's kind of funny. I was actually looking at the model kits because I kind of want to get those, the 1700 scale, just because I think it'd be cool. But yeah, it's just at the point the feds know they're screwed, and even Revel's like, I guess even a rat cornered will attack a cat. And then they're thinking like, okay, they're going through us, get us turned around, don't let them get behind us. And then right then, from underneath, here comes all these missiles. It's like all the Zaku's now coming into the battle too. And it's like finally, they finally doing something. Char's been here for a couple minutes. What have you guys been doing? It's like, so he launched ahead of everybody from a different point and then hauled ass to the battle so quickly from a different direction because he came from behind. Everybody else came from underneath and from the side. As like, that was crazy. I just love that image of just all these missiles like rising up and just like smashing the fleet from underneath. And then the Zaku's just come through. It's like, this is one ridiculous battle scenario, more or less. They try launching fighters to go deal with it. That ain't gonna help you. You even see one ship in a little bit. It's actually the one the other guys were trying to get back to. It's their base basically, and it gets hit while they're trying to launch, and then just gets wiped out. At one point, I love that Char actually stomps on a fighter. He's like, just stomps on it and goes over and starts tearing up a ship. And then he gets to a point where he's like, oh crap, I've only got 3 shots left. Let's see if I can take out two more ships. It's like, It's like, good God, it's kind of hard to keep track of what's going on. It's just chaos and destruction, the way they like it.
Yeah, it's Rio's craft is the one that gets struck by Zaku as they try to get away after their the carrier that they were supposed to go to gets blown up.
Yeah, his also gets hit, and then that explodes. I remember that part. I just didn't write it down. I didn't write down a lot what was going on with that guy.
Yeah, I only have like 2 pages of notes on this episode because it's mostly it's an important episode, but it's mostly conflict that you can kind of describe in a couple of sentences.
Yeah. And then we finally see the Tri-Stars get after something, so they actually find the flagship, the Ananke, and they basically go after it. You know, shooting it with the anti-ship gun, hitting it with a couple missiles, and then of course Mash goes in and actually shows what that axe can do. So it's actually got the big thrusters on it. And he's literally like hits the thing and just goes all the way down like the tower.
So cool. Also made me think of some of the weapons from IBO.
It reminded me of IBO and Seed, because you always have those scenes where they're attacking the bridge of ships in Seed.
Also, Transformers Animated Optimus Prime had a rocket-powered axe, too.
Oh, yeah, you're right. But thank God they were paying attention on the actual ship, so they actually got the General, out in time, so they basically evacuated the ship. Everybody get out, we're transferring the flag. Which is funny because I never considered that. I
mean, it makes a certain amount of sense because it makes me think of like how like technically any aircraft that the president on is Air Force One.
Any plane, yes.
Yeah. Oh, true. Okay, helicopter is.
Yeah, because the helicopter's Marine One.
Yeah. But I just thought that was a neat little piece of dialogue detail to throw in there. It's like we're transferring the flag. That's just some nice little military jargon to toss in there.
Yeah, well, it's because the admiral is the flag. He's the one who's in charge. So wherever he is becomes the flagship. So as the escape ships are trying to get out the bottom, of course, they're sitting there picking them off. And then, is it Ortega? Which one? Who's the leader of the Tri-Stars?
Truth be told, I can't remember their names. So I just have, whenever they're on screen, I just refer to them but collectively as the Tri-Stars.
It's Matt, Ortega, and the other one. And I think the other one is the one who's in charge.
Bob.
But he's like, hey, hold on, wait a second. Don't blow up that last one. He's like, why? I want to kill it. And then it's the big red one. You know, so that's actually the one that's like, that's a much bigger prize in there. Let's not blow that up. And of course, you zoom in to see that's Rebel. Of course, they make sure that you know that the admiral has a specific ship. It's like, so don't.
Which seems a little silly, if you ask me, especially since those are kind of escape crafts. I wouldn't want to be advertised as like, hey, this one is an important one.
Exactly. Gaia is the third one.
Ah, that's right.
Yes, Gaia Chui. But I love at this point, so they're doing all this stuff, and then they see Char fly by. I was like, wow, he's going about 3 times normal speed. Hey, looks like a red comet. Ah, there we go.
They call him a veritable red comet.
Yep. Well,
Dandruff.
Roll credits. Roll credits. And he goes in, takes down another ship. I love that. He just fires a missile, goes right into he fires a rocket, it goes into the missile bay on the ship and just makes all the explosions. And then he slices it with his heat hawk and then moves on. And then he fires another one. Maybe it's the same one. It's kind of hard to tell which ship he was blowing up. He said he's going to kill 2 more, but they only show 1 more. But then he shoots a missile down the main thruster. Of course, that's pretty much going to take it out. And then he runs into another guy. It's a guy that we recognize from Club Eden. It was a guy that went to see Rawl right before he left.
Oh, you skipped a scene.
Did I?
We briefly cut to Ryu, who's floating out in space after his craft was destroyed.
I haven't written down that shit.
He's floating in space, and he's calling out for Four Eyes.
Yeah.
To see if anybody else is still alive, and he's kind of like, well,
He wakes up
This
just floating in space.
sucks.
Yeah, I mean, he's just floating in space, watching a battle happen, hoping not to die.
Pretty
You know,
much.
like I didn't write those scenes down. I know they happened. I just didn't care that much. But anyway,
Anyway, back to what you were saying.
yeah. So Char runs into this guy. I forgot his name. But he's
I just
one
haven't written down as Rawl, one of Rawl's friends.
exactly. And he's like, you know, hey, Lieutenant Char, take my gun if you're out of ammo. And he's like, hey, don't worry about my glory. Worry about your own. It's like, I'm gonna still do what I got to do. And he's like, you're one of Rawls' men, right? He says, work hard enough to do the part of the lieutenant who who was unable to join us, and ends up giving him his bazooka, which I don't understand why he did that, because if he had ammo left, why would he need another bazooka? Unless his bazooka was damaged or something, or he's just gonna two-hand it, you know. Either way, so Char just flies off to go do Char things, and you just see him kind of zipping around a little bit. You know, it's like, I don't know what he's doing. He doesn't have another gun, so I guess he's just gonna heat hawk it around.
It's working pretty good so far.
Yeah, he's still killing stuff. And this is before they had the ability to pick up anybody's weapon and just keep, you know, fire something else on the battlefield. Oops, what did I just knock over? And then we go to Garen in his office.
It's got like all the screens.
Yeah, he turns off his like 15 screens. So I was like, it's over. Plan worked. And then as he's getting up to leave, of course, Shelia walks in. Hey, what's up, bro? It'd be funny if that's what she said. What's up, bro? Basically congratulating him on the battle won. And you can just tell she so wants him dead. Like,
yeah.
And she
I have it written down. It's like they trade backhanded compliments a bit.
A lot. And like she definitely looks like a G.I. Joe villain at this point. She definitely has the very because she continues the face mask thing through regular original Gundam, right?
Yeah. I think it's implied to like help protect her face so that way she doesn't get scars and affect her beauty or something like that.
I just figured it was part of her secret force thing. It's like hide her identity. Because people don't.
Except she just refers to herself as Cassilia. She doesn't hide her identity. She just covers her face.
Yeah. But she starts off with talking is like, well, I guess with this done, I guess they'll be forced to really go into peace talks now. And he's like, fuck your peace talks. The fight's going to continue until we get to our ultimate triumph. Just like, so he just wants to fight and keep killing and keep this war going.
Yeah.
Until he's wiped everyone out. He's like, he doesn't want peace. He doesn't want negotiations. He wants them all to die.
This is basically showing that he's like the ultimate definition of a Gundam villain. Basically, he wants war.
He wants war. He is like Space Hitler.
Well, in first Gundam, they even I think Degwin even actually says you are a lot like Hitler, you know that? And he doesn't deny it. In fact, he's like, that doesn't sound half bad.
Yep. You know what? You're not wrong.
I like being an evil, murdering psychopath. So yeah,
he's definitely like a human version of Frieza, kind of. Okay with just dominance. He's not the one actually doing the fighting. He's just like the tactician.
Oh, totally.
But she says, "Can I ask you a question?" He's like, "Sure, why not?" He's like, "What about the big Degwin out there? Just kind of out there exposed." He's like, "Uh-huh." It's like father wanted it that way. That way the men can get inspired and then he can watch the battle and inspect things. And it's like, I expect that he's most pleased with what's happening. And he goes, well, hypothetically, what if the Tiananmen fleet decided to sacrifice itself to attack Zeon? Would the sovereign ship be able to stop him? And he's like, I'm pretty sure the bureaucratic soldiers of the Federation never take such reckless action. Don't worry about it. She's like, but what if it did? It's like, and he gets the intense look over. It's like, well, what do you think would happen?
He's like, need I answer that?
Yeah, need I answer that question? She's like, no. And it's like, at this point, I'm just like, is she gonna pay them to go after the Great Deadwind now? It's like, I was like, wait, does she have somebody on there who will literally? And for a second, I'm like, it would not be out of her or out of the scope of belief that she would have somebody on board that ship to destroy the Great Deadwind just to get the old man out of the way.
Well, with what I know about First Gundam, I think she's more concerned that basically Giram has basically put
the old man
father out in the with basically a big target on his back and his front and over his head saying, hey, shoot here, shoot here. Yeah. And so she's worried about their dad getting killed off and him basically orchestrating everything to allow that to happen.
For him, it's like Drago. If he dies, he dies. Yeah. Oh no, Dad died. That sucks. I'm the sovereign.
I guess I'm leader now.
I guess I'm no longer Supreme Commander. I am your sovereign. Bow to me. It's like, I need a great Giran. Where is it? Where's my big Giran? But anyway, so we actually cut to the big Deadwind. We're watching the battle. Garmith jizzing himself on how great the battle was. So great. It's like, I wish I could be out there. Next time we go into battle, I'm going to be on the front lines. And the old man's like, dude, shut the fuck up. It's like, you're young and impetuous. He's like, this is war. He's like, you have no idea how war works. It's like, shut the fuck up and sit down. And he's like, why? It's like, well, it ain't over yet. He's like, what are you talking about? It's like, well, we're the only thing between the Zeon motherland and the Tianum fleet, which is right there. And Garma's like, that screen that's been in front of me all this time. It's like literally, it's displayed right there. They're like, oh yeah, this is this fleet, and they're still out there, and they're close to us. If they decided to come after us, it's us and a couple ships. That's it.
Yeah.
We'd lose the moon. We'd lose all Zeon colonies, and they could just come in and wipe us out entirely. Like the entire side could probably be destroyed before the Zeon fleet could get there to do anything. And he's like, well, what will they do? It's like, well, I guess we'll have to see. And then, of course, we have to jump to Federation fleet now. Same guy from earlier. They're like, hey, there's a ship. What is it? I don't know. I think it looks like a big Deadwind. I think it's the big Deadwind. Yeah, it's the big Deadwind. Okay.
You better remember this for the next review episodes.
What? Big Deadwind?
Big Deadwind.
Yeah, it's the big Deadwind. Big Deadwind. I see it written down the side in letters. But yeah, they literally
start like repeating the exact situations that they were just talking about. It's like, well, we could, take them out and then take everybody else out and stuff like that.
Yep.
But we're not going to.
Yep, exactly. So it's like, should we attack? Because we could literally plow right through them and just go and take out Zeon. It's like, we could. But we're not. And it literally had to have the dramatic pause. They're like, no. It was like, let's about face. Let's go see if we can salvage what's left of Rebels fleet. I'm just like, okay. And then everybody turns around. Then they get the news, Federation fleet turning around, and then they're like, good. It's like, but they had to have the same conversation essentially 3 times. To me, I think they probably overlapped that conversation. Like, as they're having, like, between Giran and Cassilia, they could have cut to those other scenes.
That would have been actually pretty cool storytelling there.
Maybe I should recut it as a side project. Actually, recut it. That might be interesting. I don't know if I could do it if there's music in the scene or not. That might not work, but that would be cool. But basically, the whole plan worked out the way they did. They showed their power. They wiped out a good chunk of the enemy fleet, but frankly, it's just begun. This is like the first battle, realistically. of a significantly timed war. Like there's a specific, the 1 month war, the first quarter war. What is it called?
What, this one? The 1 year war?
Oh, get you into it and you weren't paying attention. Yeah, so making the joke, it's the 1 year war. The first quarter war. Oh, Jesus. But Big Daddy tells Dozel to take in Revel, give him every courtesy, because still, even on top of everything else, he's a diplomat. He's not a warlord. You know,
Yeah.
like he still wants peace with the Federation. He doesn't just want to wipe them out. He
Just
wants,
because he's a bad guy doesn't mean he's a bad guy.
yeah, exactly. Like, wait, what's the thing from Wreck-It Ralph?
That's it. Just because you're a bad guy doesn't mean you're a bad guy.
What's the thing they say in the support group?
Oh, perfect, dude. I don't remember.
I'm not good, and that's not bad, or something like that. And I'm bad, but that might not be good. Something like that. There's the thing they say in the support group, and that's funny, but it kind of applies there. So, Big Daddy's just like, scoop up Revel. We already know that the Black Tri-Stars found him, so they already know about that. And then we go to Dozel, basically saying, "Yeah, shoot him." They find another ship that's still firing. They're like, "Kill it." It's like that one's still twitching, basically. And we see just destruction. We finally see like everything's filled with flames and smoke. And it's the weird thing I was kind of talking about before, like when they had the battle on the moon, and the smoke doesn't really have a direction because there's no wind, so it's only being driven by the direction of the thing. So you see like swirls of smoke.
Yeah, it's a really cool effect.
Just gorgeous. That's why it's the thumbnail. And also, once again, this was not an episode where I was going to put something silly up there. Just imagine that we're on the ship somewhere making silly faces. But it really is like a World War II thing. It really is.
And particularly after we pan back to that shot, he orders the ceasefire.
Yeah.
And then he even orders basically a moment of silence for all of the fallen. I get the feeling he's not referring to just Xeon sides. He's also referring to the fallen on the Federation side.
Yeah, he said, because he didn't say our Xeonic brethren, because they really didn't lose that many. I don't think they lost a single Zach.
At least in that action.
So they lost a few ships, probably just a handful, considering how many they actually had. But they lost a handful. As far as we know, they lost no mobile suits because they weren't getting hit at all. They couldn't hit them even with the anti-air guns. Because even Revel at one point said, prepare for anti-air battle. So they started firing up the actual machine guns, not just the energy cannons.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think they hit a single thing. Maybe one. It's like it's more likely that the suits ran into each other if there was any destruction. There's like amongst the smoke, ran into each other. But I assume that they did what they could with as many missiles as they could, and then they left the battlefield. Because it would have made more sense. Strike them hard, and then if you can get in close, hit them with the weapons, but don't risk anything. Just wipe them out as quick as you can. The element of surprise is what they had. They had powerful enough weapons that, well, I thought it was funny. So Char was taking out ships with 1 or 2 shots. They even commented on that. Like he took out a whole ship with just 2 shots. And then like later he kind of takes one out with mostly 1 shot. At least totally disables it. And then the other guys, it's sort of like 4 Zaku's firing from one side and then hitting it from the other side to disable it. So they're just kind of raining missiles on it versus
I think you can take it as potential new type stuff where basically he knows exactly where to target and he is able to hit his target with he's okay. What is it saying here? Starts putting on Commander Cape.
Such a shame that what will we do now? That was back when the big Degwin was going to get destroyed. Oh no! But then Androius released the Shoki cut. Recut just that scene to make it a little bit better. Maybe we'll see. If I have some time this week, I'll do that. I think it'll be funny. And then, of course, this Gundam Side Story first quarter reward report.
That's effectively what we're watching right now.
Yeah, first quarter. Not even that far. What day is it? We're still in January, I think.
We might have moved into February because
well, the colony dropped.
The colony hit Earth like January 22nd or something like that.
16th.
What's that?
16th.
16th? Okay.
Because remember, we were worried it was going to hit on your birthday, and then 3 days later.
Yeah. So
no, I think we're still in January, but I don't remember where we were.
Of course, everything in the 1 year war happens super quick by virtue of it being 1 year.
Yeah. In comparison, yeah. But yeah, this was a good episode. They did a lot. A lot of people died, unfortunately, but war is hell.
That's pretty much the message of Gundam there. War is hell. Robots are cool though.
Yeah.
But war is still hell. Bioplastic.
I think this is the most battling we're going to get out of this series, if I'm correct. Because I think next episode is mostly just post-battle victory stuff.
You might be right on that because I want to say the title of the last movie was like the Battle of Loom or something like that. So
yeah, so it was Battle of Loom, and then this one or the next one is the last episode is called 1 Year War. The next one is something else I can't remember, but I know what happens in the next episode because I love the way the next episode ends. Char has such a great line right at the end. But basically, the concept of the rise of the Red Comet or the advent of the Red Comet is all the next 2 episodes, like how Char just like keeps going up a little higher and higher and stuff like that, along with some really intriguing stuff that happens behind the scenes due to Big Daddy and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. So we're nearing the end. We got 2 episodes left. So this upcoming week will be episode 12, and then Joey's going to come back for episode 13, so all 3 of us can be in on the final review. He's actually going to rewatch all the series so that we can do a series recap as well. And then
I don't know if I'm going to go that far.
Well, I mean, we don't have to do like a whole thing, but our thoughts on the entire series altogether. Fun fact: an original MSG timeline. 1 Year War went for 8 months before Amuro first fought in his Gundam, so the Federation's mobile suit career during the 1 Year War only spanned for about 4 months after.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, they had gun tanks before the Gundam showed up, right? And then the gym was developed after that. But the gun cannon existed, so they had mobile suits already. They just weren't.
Yeah, well, that's where stuff with this gets a little wibbly wobbly because, in theory, the gun tank and the gun cannon shouldn't really have existed before.
No, they were developed before the Gundam.
I mean, they were developed before, but they were all part of Operation V, I think it was called, or something like that, and kind of quasi-developed around the same time, and that's why they were all on or near the White Base when it first launched.
Well, I think those gun tanks and gun cannons those were the predecessors to the Gundam, at least mobile suit wise. So they had to make something. So knowing that they would have had anything developed ahead of time, and this is the final evolution, so to speak, once they developed their mobile suit game after seeing what so I mean, it was shorter mobile suit development, but they already had the leg up. So the Gundam was already in development, but they had to base it off of other things. So they had a gun cannon already. You know, they already had a bipedal mobile suit. It just wasn't good. And then,
of course, go ahead. Sorry, I have a comment, but I'll add it in after you're done. Go.
Well, I mean, that's fine, but it's like because the gun cannons we've seen are the early types. So That's why the ones that we see later, the red boys, they look a little bit different, like they have a little cap on. Those are the ones developed. I think those are the 77s, right?
I'm not sure.
I think they are. So either way, they're like not 77s. They'd be 75s, I think. No, ARC's 78. Yeah, so those would be 77s. So it makes sense that they were developed first, because that's just where they were. So building up on the existing shit and then going there. But yeah, we already know that their mobile suit game was weak. They only had
Yeah.
one squadron of gun cannon already made, and then the assembly line. Well, I guess once they figured out they were trash in comparison, they probably started working with. Well, it was Anaheim making them, so I'm sure once Anaheim got on board with Project V, they're like, let's make these things a bit better to actually get out
Right.
there.
I think it's more like they started listening to Ray.
Ray, yeah, because he went there. So, but I thought we actually got a scene with the Gundam itself at some point, or was that somebody else's animation?
There's a point in this where he's doing his space PowerPoint presentation.
I know that.
It's like this, our stuff right now, crap.
Yeah.
This thing, I call it the Gundam, is going to be cool. And then it like cycles around a CG model of the Gundam, complete with the red, yellow, with the primary color scheme. And then just before it gets to its head, it cuts to the next scene or to somebody else talking.
So the scenes that I've seen where it is like the Origin Gundam like getting up out of a thing, that was not even in the OVAs.
That you do not actually see the Gundam in the Origin animations.
Okay, that's stupid.
The closest you come is there. I think there's something during the credits of the last episode of this, and that's not even Grandpa. That's something else.
Yeah, so it is what it is.
Something I wanted to mention was at least originally with Gundam. Supposedly like the 78 in RX 78-2 referred to the year that it was being developed in. So the idea there being that this was developed in 0078, and then I think the gun cannon was 77, and the gun tank was 76.
Well, I think
the idea that idea eventually was. That eventually was, I think, retconned away or something like that. Probably by the time of Zeta or something like that, when it didn't make a whole lot of sense. It's common for like Japanese military machines to have the number be referenced to when it was first deployed or when it was developed or something. But
that part always made sense. But the fact that the numbers coincide both with the year and the production, so it's literally like, okay, so this is the 76, this is the 77, this is the thing, because we hear the earlier types are 76s, the RCX 76, the gun tank early type, or gun cannon early type, and then the RX 77 is the one we see later. So if that was made in 77 or designed in 77, or it's the model number in between, still makes sense. Plus the Gundam was launched in 78. So, right? No.
79.
79. Yeah. So who knows?
Yeah.
I get later on it totally makes sense, because even when they get to the Mark II, numerically it doesn't make sense. Jump to 178.
Yeah.
So,
and like I said, I think by Zeta they were kind of like, we're just making up numbers as we go along. I think with Mark II they wanted to have the 78 in there, so they just put a 1 in front of it.
Yeah.
But then, of course, numbering for our own aircraft doesn't make a whole lot of sense when you start looking at them.
Well, when you get into other mobile suits, especially the like the GIMs, that either is the model number or year, because the original GIMs we know of are RGM 78s. So
79.
I know I said it out loud, then I knew I was wrong. So 79. Then as you get to the later things, like you get to the Jagan and then you get to the Jesta, they're later evolutions, and they're coming later on in the series. So the Jestas being 89s, if I remember correctly. I'm sorry, the Jagans being 89s, and then Jestas being 96s. So, they're coming out much later in the timeline, and potentially in either in 0096, or maybe that's just when they came out. I have to look at the deployed time from the Jesta.
And then you have stuff like the Unicorn, which is RX-0.
Yeah, but I think that was meant to coincide with the beginning of the
Universal Century.
Yeah, I think at the beginning of the Universal Century is really what it was supposed to be, considering like this is our new beginning. I think that's why it was RX-0, but who knows? This is what we had intended all along. That's why it's called the Zero.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, that really throws a wrench. No, what really throws a wrench in it is the NT.
It's like, because that one is what?
RX-9, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, what?
And and that one is supposedly a prototype for what became the new Gundam, which is the 94, isn't it?
93. RX-93. But no, the thing is with the NT is that they claim prototype, but really it's a test bed. So they were like, it was the thing that they were testing out Psychomu on. So that's why they could also equip virtually whatever the hell they wanted. It didn't have a real purpose, So it was just like, okay, so this is a developmental thing. So for it to be called a prototype, because it was the last thing it was probably used for was the new Gundam, and they probably had bits and pieces of new Gundam laying around. Lo and behold, we get a thing that looks like a skeletal new Gundam with no funnels, at least no real funnels. He had the wired funnels. But then you slap on a whole bunch of not unicorn Psychomu pieces from somewhere. They just
that part still bugs the snot out of me a little, just because it seems so obvious what they were supposed to be doing. But no.
They did claim that they got more Psychomu and they just made it into that shape, I guess, because the unicorn was probably the strongest thing, period, or at least the design of that Psycho frame was the strongest thing they had. So why not make it into the same shape and just apply it in the same way? Because they already said it's like all of the unicorn units were either taken down and broken down and destroyed or studied, or is flying about in space. So it wasn't legit like the pieces of the actual unicorn, because they also found boxes and boxes of Psychomu later on in the movie. So I mean, there's that, which that got really crazy. When they really started exploring what Psychomu was, that was even weirder, and what it did. They're just like, okay, yeah, now we're really playing with new type magic. It's like,
I need to watch that movie again.
Yeah, forget the concept of time travel or temporal manipulation. It's the literal souls of people within the thing, and that's where the power comes from. It's like, oh, that's just great. But that's how Banagher was connecting to Char and Amuro.
Yep.
Confirming that they were dead.
Sad face.
It goes RX-9, RX-92. Oh, that was the Mu Gundam. And then RX-93 new. Narrative which RX-9 becomes directly before the RX-93. Most of the unicorn parts were retrofitted onto the narrative. That's why it has Vulcans mounted under or on the narrative. Specifically in the movie, they state that's not what it is. That's the problem. It's like, it's clearly what
that's what it seems like. That's what they intended, and then somewhere along the way, they changed the story or something like that.
Yeah, they changed it to where it's like, while it's painfully obvious, it's like the psycho frame of the unicorn. That's not what they claim it is. They say, yeah, we just have more Psychomu laying around. It's like, it makes sense that they have it. Like, they can make it or harvest it or whatever, and they can shape it. Now, apparently, Unicorn also allowed Banagher to travel to alternate universes. We're not even talking about all the crazy shit that can happen, because they can write anything they want.
They're talking about the Gundam Beyond thing animation for on the wall thing with the at Tokyo Diver City or whatever, where the unicorn, where the Gundam base is at.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's considered canon. I think that's just a neat animation to show off neat things.
Yeah. But I mean, it would make sense that if you had enough Psycho Mew and a strong enough new type, you could probably pull off a lot of stuff that bends the laws of physics. I mean, frankly, too, just the temporal manipulation alone, without actually meaning to do it, just a thought and a feeling happened, and it made it do the thing.
Yeah.
Which was impressive in and of itself. But then the fact, I mean, you already have the problem with the fact the Phoenix can fly at the speed of light, if not faster. It's like, okay. It's like, it's not, and the funny thing is, it's not its thrusters doing that. It's the Psycho Mew pushing it through space that fast.
Unicorn is like, laws are made to be broken.
Literally, like, hey, we need a machine to literally break the laws of physics. Cool. It's like, we should probably disassemble that so people don't actually get to use that, right?
And that's why you don't see Psycho Mew much in the later series.
Narrative is dope. It's like Gundam's version of Moby Dick, only Moby and Ahab are both waifu material, and Ismail Jonah couldn't have them in the end. Yeah, he loses both. But he gets to go hang out with Benazer now. Spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen NT. Which I love the fact that, you know, in the end, when he's in the Silver Bullet, which has some psycho powers, but not enough. Benazir's literally like, I'm not getting near that fucker. Like when he's trying to stop the Phoenix, he's like, nope, I'm not getting near that. I know what's going to happen. You go do it. What? Why? Just go. See what happens. I don't know if that's a good idea. Because the Phoenix basically just wiped out the narrative. Really, it just ripped it apart, didn't it? Like with Psycho Power, if I remember correctly, just kind of Psycho blasted it. Because like
at one point it does the same wave thing that Final Battle Unicorn did, and basically it caused all of their thrusters and reactors to basically disassemble themselves. Or go back to a state before they were assembled or something.
Yeah. Well, I can't remember her name, but the girl who was in the Phoenix. I'm
blanking on that now.
It doesn't matter, but like she was a natural new type. That's why her connection was so much stronger than even the cyber new types that came later. Because of course it's rumored that Benazir's even a cyber new type. So there's that. And we already knew that Merida piloted the Banshee that way, and then of course find out Ridi is technically a new type later on, or cyber new type. Who knows? Like I said, this whole genetic manipulation thing, they could just be playing with all the rich kids. You know, it's like, why not? You know, it's like
be wary of anybody that's blonde hair, blue eye, and in a Gundam story.
Yeah, or random curly haired kid, because he's clearly he's our new Jesus. Like we lost our previous Jesus, we need a new one. How about this kid? Looks good. Throw him in the Gundam, see what happens. It's like, oh, your dad's the head of a secret organization and a secretly powerful family in the background. What? And they developed a new Gundam. What?
Tell me, does the concept of war make you want to cry? A little. This guy.
Since Lala, yes. Stupid powerful. Poor girl. And they probably did all kinds of shit to her before that. It's like, hey, let's pick a really powerful new type inside the strongest Psycho Mew suit that currently exists.
What could possibly go wrong? Oh god, everything's gone wrong.
Everything's gone wrong. Why?
Why is that shield coming right at?
Yeah, send the Banshee out after it. It'll be fine. Okay, just right off that. No. There were only two, right? We only had two of those.
Sure.
There's not a third one flying around somewhere. Right. But either way.
And it's certainly not super shiny looking.
And blue. Like, forget the fact that it's gold. It's like just constantly glowing blue and flying around. Or hiding near an asteroid or something, playing, whatever. It's like, excuse me. Okay, so let's have Let's have the battle in the comments. Which is stronger, the 00 Quanta or the Phoenix with a full-powered relay in it? Which one breaks the laws of physics worse? Time
I mean,
travel
we're
dimension.
talking about before it becomes like also like partly alien technology, because the quanta becomes the
Well, we
quantum
don't know its
ELS.
ability. Well, with the 00 Quanta, we don't know exactly what the L's did to it, but we assume that it's just more better.
It looks cool, and there's not a kid of it. That's the
Yeah, it's more better than what it was. It already could bend the laws of physics in ways they actually didn't know it could. Like, hey, why don't we go ahead and make these sword bit things make a dimensional gate? How do you know how to do that? I don't know. It's like we got these blueprints. It literally was like, I don't know. We got the download. Just make it happen. You understand that? Isn't that the weird part?
Oh yeah, Schimberg came up with it 200 years ago. How the fuck are my folks now?
Yeah. Can you turn living metal into anything else? I don't know. Yeah, it's a living suit. Actually, has shared consciousness with Setsuna. Oh, at that point, yeah. Else quanta
I mean,
power
yes,
display.
technically, yeah, the Elf Quanta is very similar to the Phoenix.
Yeah, there's a lot of similarities. It's just like it technically can't move at the speed of light, but it can turn itself into particles and be anywhere in the universe it wants.
So
But
I
can
guess
it,
kind of moves at the speed of. I mean,
in theory, it can. I mean, it quantizes, so I don't know. I was like, one thing is physically moving through space super fast. The other one can literally be anywhere it needs to be. One has way more offensive power, that's for sure. But without having any psycho weapons in it and being particle driven, I don't know if the Phoenix could affect it the same way. I mean, that's like people like talk. Let's see, what are the ones they usually say? Which
unless
one's
the
more
Phoenix
powerful?
could do something to, because GN particles are brought about because of some sort of decay thing, right? With
It's a reaction that happens in Jupiter's atmosphere. It creates GN particles. But once you harness that ability, they can infinitely regenerate inside the GN drive, solar furnace.
Okay.
Solar furnace can just infinitely restock itself.
So I guess that would be the main potential weakness there, is if the Phoenix could basically be like, okay, the GN drive is now taken back to before it was built or something like that.
Well, I would assume that at some point that any of the unicorns could also run out of power and particles for things. But it's also not using any offensive weaponry. It doesn't have a gun or anything. It's just using its armed armor.
Yeah, it doesn't actually have a the beam magnum, does it? At least in I know the kit comes with one because I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I have. I'm looking at my kit right now. It's holding it.
So the question is, could the shield sword gun bits do more damage than the armed armors flying around? Like, could one stop the other enough to make it, or would he just open a gate, quantize the thing away from it, and then just make it go away and then tear it down? It's like, but what was the argument? Is it turn A more powerful than the 00 Quanta? It's like, yeah, but Phoenix is probably equally as powerful to the turn A, because if it really could do the similar thing and literally have enough power behind it, it could just go no more technology. It's almost like the Scarlet Witch. It actually, like, think about that. The unicorns are almost like the Scarlet Witch's matter manipulation. Literally, like, I don't want this to be this way anymore. Literally, just swap and wipe out.
That almost makes me think if like Moonlight Butterfly is somehow related to all this.
In theory, it came first. True GN drives run almost to infinity. GN Tau drives have a limit. We literally know nothing about the L's GN drive. Well, presumably it's like the GN drive, but just slightly better. But the L's kind of ran off GN particles in and of themselves. And then once they also learned about the technology, that they could replicate it indefinitely. So because they're a quantum species in the first place, it already makes things weird. It's like they're a crystalline liquid metal species that literally lives on a quantum level. It's like, yeah, they're already a bit more advanced.
Awakening of the Trailblazer was weird.
Awakening of the Trailblazer is weird, but cool at the same time. We know that the elves can convert things with consciousness, and the Phoenix has something like a consciousness. The L's quanta could touch the Phoenix and could convert it all into L's Phoenix. Yeah, that's why it turns all silver and red in that one thing. That's what happens. It literally becomes the L's.
That's how we get the Phoenix that shows up in G Reco.
Yes, that's what that is. We're crossing universes because of that.
Cross all the universes.
So now the armed armor bits are now actually they can just quantize. They can make a big portal in of themselves. It would just be the ultimate thing. Doesn't even need GN drives.
Yeah, it's
now GN frame. Actually,
now
that's not. Well, the thing is, that's
like
not far off. Like realistically, the later celestial being Gundams, basically, it's just the particles are pumped through every inch of it, basically. So I mean, they have literally a GN frame.
Yeah, that's why they stopped having like the power strips or something like that, and it's all solid armor, and even most of them abandoned having the big cone things sticking out in favor of the drive being fully integrated, basically.
Exactly. Would the armed armor bits just become physical wings? No, that's stupid. There's only 2 armed armor. Might not be able to keep up with the quanta. I don't know. They can fly at the speed of light. It's like keeping up with it. I don't think it's a problem. It's just like as long as the suit and Setsuna have the quantum speed ability to process what's happening, is with the Phoenix moving that fast, that's what matters. But if they could interrupt the control of the ghost that's controlling the Phoenix, that would be something. We don't know how quantum brainwaves would affect new types or new type consciousness trapped inside a mobile suit from a long dead person. We don't know because it's 2 different damn universes. But it's an interesting idea. It's like, which one bends the laws of physics harder? It's like, I'm gonna bend them this way. Oh yeah, I'm gonna bend them this way. It's like, could one undo the other? You know, it's like Death Battle. We need you. It's like send it over to the Death Battle crew. Okay, we need to know which of these 2 Gundams is technically more powerful. Get after it. And we're not talking about turn A or turn X. What if crystallized Phoenix can turn L's quanta into proto-living form with time-altering hand weight, but Phoenix can do that, the L's quanta only have a slim chance to win. L's quanta have to attack faster. It's literally 2 unstoppable objects running into each other.
Well, pretty much, right?
I mean, the thing is, if the quanta is in quantum burst mode, could the Phoenix even affect it?
It kind of depends on basically who gets the first shot, basically.
Yeah, it's
because
just like
if Phoenix can get in before quantum burst activates, then Phoenix wins because it gets the first attack and de-ages or new type magics away. If the quant goes into quantum burst, then it wins because it gets to use GN magic.
It gets to use all its GN magic to its further. Well, the funny thing is, quantum burst wasn't even used for offensive ability, but regular Transam is. So he could, even in Transam, he could potentially be far more powerful. Realistically, it's the shield sword gun bits versus its weapons. If it could, as long as its eye field can be penetrated, because they'll still have the eye field. So he's got to get past the eye field on the armed armors to do that. But I don't know. It's like you got to have something to keep those busy and then take down the actual mobile suit, basically. But if he can just like summon a portal without having to do all the stuff, then maybe. But if he quantizes before that, it uses the time alteration magic on it, then what? You know, it's like you can't hurt something that's been broken down to the quantum level. It's like. It's like, I don't technically exist right now, so you can't actually hurt me. It's like, Schrodinger's Gundam. Fuck off. That's literally what it is. It's literally Schrodinger button. I'm neither here nor there. You can't actually hit me. It's like, I know it looks like your sword is penetrating me, but I'm actually over there. That's the real Picard maneuver. So Kwanzaa's a god, huh? Kind of. I know they're both god level Gundams. So what do
Pretty
you
much,
do?
yeah.
So one has an actual person controlling it. Well, person. We spammed them enough they would have to notice at some point. Yeah. Yeah. All five of you go spam go, go spam Death Battle with that idea. I'm sure they only get that from their Patreon guys. But yeah, it's just a funny idea. Because I think this is where people like to have these, well, this universe has better technology than this one. Well, yeah, but it's like, there's this one instance that you probably want to pay attention to.
Well, especially when you realize that like everything is kind of playing off of the concepts developed in first Gundam and stuff like that. That
Yeah.
GM particles are basically are a different take on Minovsky particles. Not coordinators. What's the new type equivalent in Double O? Innovades and innovators.
Innovators.
Yeah, that's their new types.
Yeah, coordinators are great from seed, but nothing like new types or innovators. It's like, because there's no like quantum level thinking, stuff like that. No, and there's no like extra particle stuff going on. They just had, I love that their thing, the funny way they get around that in seed, they're like, everything that was nuclear powered can't be now because we have in jammers. The in jammers keep
Yes.
you from nuclear power, which is the best way to go. So the only way we can have nuclear power is to have in jammer cancelers built in, so that now these suits are powerful because of that. So without having the ability to have real particles like Minovsky particles or anything like that, they just said you can't have nuclear power because of these things.
And jammers also apparently wreaked havoc on communication and radar, basically doing the same thing as Minovsky particles. I was looking them up recently because in jammers may show up as a text gag in my comic coming up.
Because it's just funny. They're like, oh yeah, well we invented this, and then we also invented the inverse technology.
Yeah.
So we wanted to give ourselves the ability to get around it because, oops, it's like, yeah, probably a bad idea to do that. Now we can't use the thing we need to. But yeah, no, it's silly. They're not the same thing. It's like you can't really compete between the two different things. I mean, even IBO probably has some advantages even over some of that stuff, with the exception of beam spamming. We don't have the ability to get around that, but we do have armor that deflects beams. So it's like Ahab. It's like all these particles always do the same thing: jams, electrical signal, any kind, radar, and all that stuff like that.
I guess the main question is, we know that laminate armor in IBO, that's what it's called, right? It's
nano-laminate.
Nano-laminate. Is
scale
resistant against their beam weapons. The question becomes, are other universe beam weapons on the same power level as what was seen in IBO that created the need for that armor?
Don't know.
Yeah,
because it doesn't happen. The problem is that nobody uses beam weapons anymore because they became irrelevant once they developed that armor. Well, actually, that was really dumb. They didn't develop the armor and then the beam weapon. They developed them together so they couldn't hurt each other. And then they said, okay, we need that on our mobile suits. And it's like, and then we just start making everything out of that just in case beam weapons happen again. So it's like, really,
and then they wake up a mobile armor.
Well, it only screwed everything up because of, it started attacking anything and everything. And they didn't have a good way to kill it because the only thing that could was a Gundam or an illegal weapon that nobody's supposed to have.
Oops.
So it's like, yeah. But no, it's like, so without the advent, or without having a beam weapon, IBO mobile suits probably couldn't keep up in the same way. The Gundams would, just when they're finally fully unlocked, but then you end up with just a ragdoll in the cab.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, of course, unless you're of course you're perfect blonde boy who figured out how to do it without getting hurt. But then again, he couldn't.
Of course, course, the thing to remember with Barbatos was that he was using the Alaya Vinyana,
Vijnana.
that thing, with the Gundam, even though, I mean, it could accept the system. It wasn't designed with that in mind. It was designed with original cockpit. It's just they didn't have the cockpit in there anymore. They had to put something in there.
Yeah, they're using the same cockpit they had from the mobile workers.
Yep.
So that's how they adapted it. But it was also the fact that the Gundams actually, or I forget if they said it was the Gundam or cockpit that had the built-in limiter, and that's what the problem was. They said that's why the Gundams kept shutting down, because in the presence of the mobile the mobile armor, they wanted to kick into high gear. They're like, oh, we need to kill this. Like the consciousness of the Gundam, nope, this needs to die. And that's when you first start realizing, oh, these things have their own minds. We just ignored them. It's like, oh, it's like, so all those times Amika's talking to Barbatos, he's actually talking to Barbatos. It's just like, but yeah, no, that's one good thing about IBO, that connection to the Gundams. So if we take the AV system, combine it with the GN drives,
oh god,
and imbue the suit with Psycho Mew, we could
have a new type pilot.
We could have, well, you wouldn't even need a new type pilot. You just need a, well, technically speaking, you'd want an innovator pilot.
Okay, sure.
So you want an innovator pilot with the AV system. So there's a direct connection. You don't even have to use your hands if you don't want to. And then you have the quantum brainwave connectivity as well, so it's even faster. And then you also have the Psycho Mew in there. So you just throw them all together in one universe, and then you have the ultimate reality bending, super powerful Gundam.
I want to see this now.
I don't. But
that's dumb in all the right ways.
We don't need Nell's alien for that. We just have what we need, because you already have nanobots. You already have the nanobots from the AV system, so you're covered. You don't need the tiny crystalline alien people. Well, aren't the 00 beam weapons just GN particles? Yeah, they're high density GN particle.
That's effectively what beam weapons in first Gundam are. They're Minovsky particles, basically.
Yeah, they're directed beam. They're directed energy weapons. The energy is particles. GN Sword 2 and beyond are just compressed GN plates, like how Psycho Frame would be. Yeah, probably, kind of. And then bits are controlled in a very similar way to funnels, but usually through the remote control system. So I don't know. It's kind of all in the same game. Sounds like a bad OC Gundam.
Original character.
Oh, gotcha. Did you just make Minority Report the Gundam? Do what the pilot wants before the pilot knows what it wants it to do. Well, no, because that's what the Zero system does. We completely left the Zero system out of this.
Oh god, the Zero system, its idea was that basically the computer would analyze the battlefield and then feed that information directly into the pilot's brain. I once saw it described as basically a reverse Psychomu system.
Well,
where instead of the pilot pumping into the computer, it's the other way around.
Yeah, so it was scanning the battle, coming up with the most likely outcome and feeding you the information, but sometimes it would react before you could. It was actually doing the thing even before you were. So, and then of course the Ultron system was help me out here. The Ep11 system was even more so, but that was mostly because he wanted to see the face of the person that was dying, like a fucking weirdo. Let's see what else. Oh, but no, you wouldn't need a Zero system because Veda is already beyond that. Because Veda's checking out everything, predicting everything ahead of time that you need to know. So
Zero system was basically Gundam Wing's answer to the new type concept.
Yeah, because they're just normal people. They're better than they're kind of super sultry, but not super.
They're really well trained, like think kind of like Batman, sort of peak physical condition, expertly military trained, somewhat. Physical
condition, but a scrawny kid mostly. At least that's what they look like.
Hiro Yui survived falling out of a building and exploding like 3 times. I think he's pretty good.
That's true, but he can't bench press 1,000 pounds like Batman.
Probably not. No.
At least in one universe, maybe that was, you could lift 1,000. But yeah, no, that would be like the ultimate ridiculous power Gundam. It's like Psycho Mew, nano laminate armor, so that it's more. It's like you don't even need a special beam coating. The armor just got you covered. GN drives, Psycho Mew, piloted by an innovator with the AV system. Call it AV quantum system, so it's all together. And then have a Haro there just for the fuck of it. Because that was the one thing, is that for anything like the like Cheridum or Zavanya, he needed Haro to pilot the bits remotely for him. So Haro connected to all the systems and could go a heck of a lot faster to control the bits and whatnot. And then, of course, way worse later on, needed 2 Haros. It's like too many bits, need 2 Haros to do it. But then also the Quanta had Tierdia docked in there as well for extra processing, for extra quantum processing. So there's that, and he had a Veda connection, so he was the Veda connection, so that they could collect all the data. So just
I suppose we could always say that the Haro is one of the Haros from Seed.
No.
just to throw them in there too.
Let's see here. Speaking of living Gundam, Sandrock from Gundam Wing seemed to have independent AI. I mean, Sandrock kicked Quattro out of his cockpit. Sorry, Catra. Yeah. For walking towards enemies and self-destructing. That was odd.
Yeah.
I think at one point, main DC Comics universe stated Batman is literally at the line of what defends metahuman. If he tried harder, he could become one. Yeah, he's literally the peak of physical human condition. Like, it's like any higher, he'd be a metahuman. Moral of the story: Batman could beat any Gundam and its pilot, given enough prep time.
Yes. We would see a Bat Gundam and our Gundam Bat, depending on what name system he'd go for.
Well, he does have some ridiculous, like, God Killer level armor that's like a huge mech. So there's that. Like in the newer stuff.
Bust out some nth metal stuff or something.
Nah, you want 10th metal. It's even better. You want 10th metal. That's the metal of creation. You want that shit. The power of imagination. Oh God. Let's get a 10th metal Gundam out here. So it literally can be anything you imagine it to be. There you go. There's 10th metal Psycho Mew Gundam can literally do fuck all anything. Batman literally has quantum future computer. What are you talking about?
Bat computer?
Well, I mean, he sat in the Mobius chair once, so he became the god of knowledge for a little bit.
Did that ever get resolved, by the way? Because I remember they were making a big deal about it, and then I never heard about it ever since then.
The 3 Jokers comic finally comes out, I think, in May or June. Been waiting like 2 years.
Like, it's like I hear he sits down in the chair, he figures out that there's 3 Jokers, and then I never hear about him coming out of it. But then there's all this stuff that's happening, and he's clearly not, sitting around in a god chair.
Well, because I think it's Wally West. Wally West sits in the Mobius chair in the recent stuff, but then also he gets imbued with the power of something else, or Dr. Manhattan. So he gets imbued with the power of Dr. Manhattan and becomes more powerful. Because now we have Ultimate Universe gods coming in, so it's getting more and more ridiculous. It's like I haven't been keeping up, but I've been watching like Comixology and stuff like that. At one point, the standard Bat computer got upgraded and was able to accurately predict the future. Oh, okay. There's that. I don't think that. Except how could it predict the Joker's movements? They're so erratic and chaotic. Comics are weird. Yeah, but that was probably back in like the New 52, and none of that exists anymore. We've rebooted since then. Twice. We've had Rebirth and Dark Knight's Metal. So the universe has been rebooted a couple times. And I still haven't finished Doomsday Clock yet because I still need issue number 11. I won't read the last 3 issues because I don't have issue 11. And I can't get it. Honestly, I can't understand people's portion of Batman's intellectual when he often falls in a villain's trap. Batman animated series, everybody considers the definitive Batman. I don't know about falling into everybody's trap. He's still usually one step ahead. If he gets captured, it's because he wants to get captured. They even proved that in one of the animated series episodes where Harley went separate from the Joker and tried to prove that she could kill Batman on her own. That was a great episode because he's literally laughing in her face. I love that. So he's like laughing at what she says, and she's like, "Oh, stop it. Stop that." She was so scared of the fact that Batman was laughing. And then Joker comes in, sets Batman free, kind of. He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry about this." You know, it's like, "We'll come back later. I'll try to kill you. Don't worry about it. This was all a big mistake." Like, I love that whole thing. Sorry about that. She's a moron. I apologize. It's like she captured him on
animated series on Blu-ray or something.
Well, that was the Batman Robin Adventures or whatever, the later series that was animated very differently. Not all Bruce Timmey. Why don't doubt if you had your own little fan fiction? What
does it say?
It says, why don't doubt if you had your own little fan fiction on Gundam 00 team? I don't know what he was trying to say.
I know I have a little fan fiction Gundam 00 thing, but
I'm not going into your fan fiction. Okay, but it's getting late. I gotta get to bed soon. I got a shower. Okay. Oh, good Lord. Sorry, that was nasty. So, guys, thanks for coming on the stream. That was a good episode, but obviously not a whole lot to talk about because we've actually spent longer talking about other stuff in the entire episode. But of course, come back on Sunday where hopefully we will be doing the next episode. Everybody out there, try to stay healthy. Please do what you got to do. If the governments tell you to do, protect yourself, stay clean, wash your hands, cover your face. Don't cough on people, for the love of God. Yeah, have fun. What I meant to say is your team in Gundam 00. I guess you just want to know what I would do if I could do it myself. We'll talk about it another time. I gotta go. You get it. Okay. And of course, check out the MS100 contest. Links are down below. If you don't know what I'm talking about, if you're new to the channel, go join in. It's a charity deal. Go subscribe to this guy. Links down below to his channels. Oh, somebody's asking about the comic. Go over to his channel. You can find those things or search for Hugh Are You Comic.
Yeah, Hugh Are You Comic. It's on Tapas and Webtoons.
Yep. It's a cool little deal. Which I'm well over a year behind. I've just been too lazy. It's like, but if you guys do decide to do any more of those like kind of moving comic versions and you need some more voices, just social distancing equals backlog time. There you go. If you're locked up, build some shit. But guys, we'll see you later. Remember, as always, to keep on nerding, keep on building, and let's keep building this community together.
And I'll see you the next time you invade my shelf space.
It won't be anytime soon because we're all quarantined.
Pretty much.
Bye, guys.
Good night.